What's up guys, Derek here. In this video, we're going to be playing around with virtual machines. If you don't know what that is, it's like a fake computer that runs inside of your real one. A very simplified definition of it, but it'll make sense in a bit. We have this folder here full of different versions of Windows. We have DOS right here. Technically it's not Windows, but whatever. It's needed to eventually get Windows. And then we have here Windows 10, which is we're going to end off. We could try 11, although it won't work because it's 64-bit, and with this upgrade path, we're stuck to 32. So it's physically impossible. I've already tested this and done like a dry run before the video, and I've gotten all the necessary patches and files, as well as we're going to be trying one game per OS. So actually, as you can see inside of each one, there's actually like multiple files. I'll explain later in the video what those mean. We're going to be running this on the specs here. My main computer with a Ryzen 7 5700X, 32 gigs of RAM, and a RX 6650 XT. This will be more than enough to run any virtual machine or any app. Hopefully, it's not slow, and if it is slow, it's down to the virtual machine's drivers not being. I must warn you, this is going to be a very long video, and it's going to take forever to edit, so if this is up late, I apologize. Anyways, let's get into the video. Enjoy. Okay, so let's launch up VMware, which is essentially the tool used to do these virtual machines. And we're going to create a new virtual machine. Right, so perfect. Now we have this virtual machine. Now we're going to insert a floppy image. If you don't know floppy image is, it's essentially an IMG file. And essentially, we're going to click disk 1, which is the first disk for MS-DOS. We're going to power on the virtual machine. And as you can see, starting MS-DOS, and we get to an installer. I'll speed this up, this entire process. Okay, now it's asking us for setup disk 2, which we're going to just switch it to through here, and then select disk 2. Okay, so now we're booted into DOS. I disabled the test mem because that'll actually make it boot slower. So DOS essentially was before Windows. It was only text-based. You have like kind of like the terminal in Windows. You could run commands. For example, we can even get like games on it. So let's start off with a game because okay, so as I said, we're gonna be playing a few games per OS. So let's actually start off with the game. This is called Doom. It's one of the first 3D shooters. So what we're gonna do to install it, we're gonna go to the A drive, and we're gonna go dir, and we're gonna say install. So now we've installed that, and we've also installed a mouse driver and a CD driver. CD driver will come in handy later with a few more games that we're going to test, and the mouse driver is going to help us play the game. So let's boot it by saying cd doom, and then we just type in doom. Now we're in the game, and I have full mouse control, and I can use my keyboard to play for like moving. I had to set the graphics to lower because we don't actually have real graphics drivers. It's a fake computer inside of a real one, and yeah. As you can see, it's really small. I might stretch it, I might not. But as you can see, the gameplay goes as such. Also, I apologize that I don't have the music of the game running. But, yeah, that's essentially what this game looks like. I'll put the music in after words, so if you're hearing the music, that's probably because, like, I edited after that. Yeah. I have 2 more games to show off today. So first off, we're going to be playing Pac-Man, obviously. It's a... Okay, we're going to D drive, and we're going to say dir. We're going to say Pac PC, because that's what it's called. And now, as you can see, it's Pac-Man, but for DOS. Simple, it's a good game. Everyone loves Pac-Man. Whatever. Then finally, we have one of my favorite games on DOS called SimCity 2000. And it's actually really cool. It's a really cool game if you can get into it. Alright, so I played the game for a little bit, we got a bit of progress, and now everything's dying off. But, however, I mean, like, it's a pretty fun game, pretty classic. Anyways, we could leave the game now. We're gonna leave the game, and we're gonna install Windows. So, to do that, we're just gonna go to add a new drive, and since I put a CD driver, we can now just do the next Windows by CD, which is much faster. I don't even have to speed it up, because it's already insanely fast. So we have the ISO here, we're just gonna put it in, and we're gonna go to the D drive, like this. Boom. You can go with that and setup. So yeah, now to install Windows, we're just gonna press setup and watch this. So we're gonna put the name to, obviously. We're just gonna let it do its thing. So yeah, the reason, if you're wondering why I didn't do, like Windows 1 and 2, I'm skipping straight to 3.1, that's actually because, those two are just extensions of DOS. And this one is in a way. However, this one actually added a whole lot of features, and like it's a lot easier to just skip to this. It's a lot easier to skip to this. And to skip and to load into Windows, all we have to do is just type Win, and it'll instantly. Oh, well, that is a beautiful error, my friends. Alright, we are back in, and we got into Windows. Turns out that CD driver was actually stopping us from loading it for whatever reason, but whatever, we are in now, and that's all that matters. So yeah, this is Windows 3.1. It kind of looks really basic, almost like there's not much happening. However, there is, and I'll show you one thing. For example, we go to the File Manager, we can access all our files. That's pretty cool, right? Yeah, files. There's a bunch of old shit here. Then obviously, we could just full screen things and unfull screen things. The reason it's doing all this like weird scrolling stuff is actually because I don't have any graphics drivers, and I want for a bit. However, let's see, what do we have any games? It comes with some games like Minesweeper, for example. This is a classic. It's like everyone's played Minesweeper. I obviously don't know how to play because we just saw that, but we have Minesweeper. We also have Solitaire, which again I don't know how to play, and it seems to be lagging a lot. So let's just close Solitaire. I have one more game to show, but I have to fix that CD driver really quick, so I'll skip to that. Alright, I'm back. Turns out that was just a memory error with the driver and the thingy. So I just gave it 64 megabytes of RAM, and we are back. So now we're gonna put the game disc in, and this game actually I'm sure most of you are familiar with. It's a port of Connect 4 to Windows 3.1. I think it's actually really cool, and here's the game. It's really neat in my opinion, and yeah, we could just play through the game, and I'm about to leave. Oh wait, I win. Let's go. Okay, I'm so good at this game. Whatever. Now, there's not much more to do, so we're actually gonna just go to Windows 95. And now to go to Windows 95, all we've got to do, take the Windows 95 disk, which I have in this folder, right there, and we just gotta put it in. Literally so simple. Let this one reload it by just clicking off of it and then back onto it. Or press. Okay, so we've actually ran into this error. It's called Windows Production Error. I did actually forget about this, but I do know the fix. Essentially, the CPU in it is way too fast. It actually wants... So I actually have a solution to this issue. It's called fix95cpu.isl. So essentially what we're going to do is we're just going to boot off of it. And now the computer will be able to boot as normal. Alright, so on to the first actual boot, because that was another setup page. We're gonna put username d_rex as always, and we need the most secure password of not having one. Oh my god, these sound effects are so peak. Welcome to Windows 95. I'm good. Alrighty, so now we're on the desktop. It's very basic, obviously. It's the older side. We have like cool wallpapers we can choose. Let's get something obnoxious. Let's see. Let's do like, oh, that looks cool. Let's do cars. And let's do that. Yeah, so we have a car wallpaper. That's pretty cool. And it's time for games. Let's see what we actually have in terms of games that we can run on this shit. On this thing. Alright, the game of choice is Need for Speed 2, I believe. So we're just gonna open that up. This is a much better layout for sure than 3.1. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into D, press Need for Speed 2, and let's try to launch it. Oh, that's because we have no graphics drivers. That's my bad. I'll find another game. But we can play the old game from the old OS. That still works. Okay, I guess we don't have a game for Windows 95. It's a bummer, but whatever. But we could play Doom from what's called DOS. So like there's still some backwards compatibility here, and it might even run better. Oh no, it will not. It will not run better. See, as you can see, now we have sound by some chance. Like actual music. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So DOS is actually the command prompt for these older, like, Windows 90 series. So, yeah, that was that. Obviously, we can't really do much right now. Let's see if we have any games. Let's read. Okay, we actually do have some games. Okay, we have Minesweeper, which we played, and Solitaire. So, we don't really have much, so let's just move on to Windows 98. It's very similar, so I'm actually just going to skip the setup part entirely. That's actually pretty cool, that, like, loading thingy. And we could just install it. Okay, so it actually seems that we've run into an error. I was expecting this, given that I've tested this in the past. This is actually an error that requires patching through a tool called Patch9x. So I'm going to do that off camera, and we're going to reboot, and I'm going to go to the point where we're either right about to be at the desktop or directly on the desktop. Okay, so we've actually made it to the first boot, and turns out our wallpaper is saved over from Windows 95. Should be doing that real quick. Makes that sound again. That's pretty cool. Perfect. We're actually on the desktop. Oh, that's some good quality audio. I bet you if this is running at full speed, that would be an insanely cool intro to the video. Yeah, that would have been cool if it wasn't, if it had graphics drivers, because right now it's just doing it really slowly. Oh my god, we got full resolution. Holy shit. Okay, guys. Okay, so guys, you may have realized something. It now takes up your entire screen. That's because I managed to get graphics drivers on it, which is weird because in my testing of it, the graphics drivers didn't actually install it when I was testing Windows 98. Yet somehow, I have graphics drivers, and that's really sick, actually. Because, like, look at it. Everything's fast, there's no lag or stutter. Let's see what we can do in it. Like, let's see if we can run the Windows 98, let's see if we can run the Windows 95 game that failed, Need for Speed. Let's see. Okay, Need for Speed 2. Let's see. I doubt we could still run it. However, there's always a chance. Let's see. We also, for whatever reason, I ended up putting Connect 4 on that same ISO. Oh, that's great. Well, we don't have that. But who cares? Because that's something to put in the past. Because we still have, I believe, yes, we still have Connect 4 working. Can we stretch the window? No, we can't. However, that's really cool, actually. Because now we have full resolution. We have gaming. Let's see if we have any built-in games. Let's see. Games? No, we only have Minesweeper and Solitaire. Oh, well, that's a bummer. However, we have a game for Windows 98 because it's a newer operating system. Let's see what game we have prepared for 98. For Windows 98, we actually have Half-Life prepared. Now, I don't think this is going to work. However, there's always a shot. I mean, there's always a chance it's going to work. Hold on. Wait a minute. It might work. Let's just install Half-Life. Okay, that full screens it. Okay, running tests on the system. Oh god, that was choppy, but... Technically speaking, yes, I heard the sound file. It was just really choppy. So let's install the game. Alright, so, turns out I can't really play any games in this either. So we're gonna move on to Windows 2000, which is essentially identical to 98 and 95, but it runs on Windows NT, which is what modern Windows runs. There's a lot more history into it, but I'm not gonna really talk about that today. So let's just put the ISO in, and let's see if that works. And now I think we can get to the desktop. Come on. It's not very fast, but we're gonna make it eventually. It's almost desktop time. Sure. Okay, it keeps the old wallpaper. That's pretty cool. Applying the old wallpaper, that's cool, actually. So that's sick. We keep the old wallpaper. Seems to be running really slow. Is there a RAM issue? Did I not give it enough? I don't think I did. Alright, so actually, as you can see, we've made it to XP. I had to, unfortunately, wipe the drive because it just wouldn't boot no matter what. I see why Windows 2000 was actually so hated. It was, it didn't really work for me. I should have done to ME. You know, I should have upgraded to Windows ME, but I decided to do this instead. and that was my fault. However, luckily we're here, and I'm gonna still try some of the older stuff from the older OSs, like some games and stuff, here, because there should be better drivers, and I should have a better chance of running things I wasn't able to run before. And also just want to see when it stops being compatible. So yeah, as you can see, Windows XP was a huge redesign, as in, like, first off here, okay, whatever, I think we got that graphics driver done. And as you can see, we now have the full resolution, and we have that graphics driver. So that's pretty cool. That's, like, awesome. If I can find my mouse cursor, there we are. That's pretty cool. Because now we actually have the graphics driver installed. And it'll look a lot more crisp. However, that wallpaper, it's not cutting it. So I'm going to replace that with something way better in a second. And explain a bit about XP and how great it is. Alright, so now you can see we actually have a 4K version of the original Bliss wallpaper. It's not completely original, it looks a little different. However, it still looks pretty cool. So this is Windows XP. It was a huge redesign over the old industrial, business-focused old like designs of 2000 and below it. And yeah, they did a great job at that. We got a whole bunch of games, most importantly pinball, because like, how could you resist playing some pinball? As you can see, this game is absolutely a classic, and it's like, and it will be for years to come after this, obviously. Yeah, that's pinball. So I actually have a few games to show off because we didn't really get them over with. And we didn't really get them over with before. But first, let's try playing this. Obviously, it works because, like, Windows XP does have that compatibility. So as you can see, we can definitely play these older games. And it runs pretty well. That was pretty bad. Yeah, I admit that was bad. Then we can also play, though. Let's try at least. Play Need for Speed. Okay, we don't have that, but I'll make that work in a bit. But let's try to skip for Windows 98, which is Half-Life. So let's try that. We actually have much more luck this time. As you can see, it even loads the intro video, and we can probably skip past it just to get into the game. Let's just try to load a new game on easy mode. And we actually might get in. Resume game. As you can see, we are successful, although the mouse driver implementation is a little bit iffy. But yeah, the game is technically running, although the mouse is doing all sorts of things. Technicality, we are in the game, and it is moving the train and whatnot, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, now we're going to try Windows 2000's game, which was, I'm pretty sure, Unreal Tournament, Game of the Year edition. Now I actually don't think we'll be able to play it because the servers are probably down unless there is an offline mode. Yeah, I doubt that the game's gonna load. As you can see, we're stuck to a weird ratio and it's gone. Let's try to relaunch that. So we're actually gonna try to do it through 3dfx Glide because I did actually get a wrapper for that. That was more for Need for Speed, but maybe, perchance, it'll run on this. Alright, so we finally got the game to launch in software rendering mode, which is fine because that means it's using the CPU to run it, or something like that, and I believe I have enough speed. However, this mouse sensitivity is really bad, so it might not be possible. It's bad. That is literally bad. Okay, I'm gonna use the... Alright, my mouse is having issues, so I'm gonna use the keyboard. I'm gonna use the keyboard to try to change settings. Let's see what we're doing. Oh god. Okay, by some miracle, I managed to get into the game, yet my mouse is so broken that I will probably not be able to play anything with it. However, it doesn't seem to be looking too bad, and, well, it's probably zoomed in on your screen, but it seems to work, so that is pretty cool, although I don't know what's the issue with the mouse. Maybe it'll fix itself in Vista when we get to it. Yes, I do. Alrighty, that was pretty cool. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's try to run that Windows 95 game, because we weren't able to run it earlier. Okay, this is looking promising. We're able to get to a black screen so far. I do not believe anything else is... Ooh. That's not horrible. Well, that's pretty bad, actually. Okay. It appears that the game will just not be able to run, whatever we do, no matter what we do. But we also have one more game right now to show off, which is the XP game, which... Now, you're probably wondering, Why are we back at the Windows XP desktop? That's because because I screwed up with the disk and it got corrupted, so I had to reinstall it. Meaning that we have no more progress, so that's fine. Anyways, you can see it's still XP. We could we could take a look at more stuff. This is actually one of the best, uh, in my opinion, it's one of the best OSs. 7 has to be the first, though, no matter what. Yeah, as you can see, we have it installed. This is called Supermium. It's like essentially a project that brings modern Chrome into older OSs, like, I believe they do 2000, I'm not sure. They do XP, 7, and Vista. It's, like, surreal to see, because, like, look, it's not running really well, but it's modern Chrome on an OS from 2001. Like, that's pretty insane. So we're gonna use it actually to get Minecraft. That's gonna be the game that we're gonna test with it. The other game I had was way too big, so I'm just gonna get Minecraft. I believe we'll be limited to like maybe like 1.8 or something like that, which is great for PvP servers. So that's what we're gonna test, obviously. So I'll skip to that. Yeah, I couldn't get Minecraft working. However, I was able to reinstall Doom from the DOS files on floppy drive. It doesn't run the best, but like it really does not. But like it's working and it has iffy mouse support because it's all over the place on XP right now. That's pretty cool. Because like we put the DOS, right? We go here. And that's pretty cool in my opinion. Just wanted to add that as another like cool thing that I figured out. Anyways, we could skip to Vista now because like there's not much more to do in XP. I mean, it's really cool, obviously, but like we can skip to Vista. Now, a lot of people actually do hate Vista because it was really slow on older computers. So yeah, there's that. However, whatever. I'm gonna install it anyway. Oh, that's beautiful. Okay, we move on to installing Vista. So I forgot to record the part where I installed Vista and tried Doom on Windows XP. However, that did happen and it was pretty cool. Essentially, I did the floppy images for Doom and it ran somehow on XP despite being NT-based. And then I decided to go from there because I couldn't get anything else running just to install Vista. And that went smoothly, and as you can see, we actually do have Vista here. We have the graphics drivers, they transferred over. I even had to reinstall shit. Yeah, we have pretty cool looking, like, widgets here, and yeah, it's just, this OS, I'm sure you'll notice it does look, very modern still, despite being from 2006, and, yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, there's definitely that, and I have one game prepared for this, so I'm gonna actually pull that up in a second. Also, the installer for this, I would have recorded a time-lapse, but I'll do for Windows 7, because it's the same installer from Vista to 7 to 8 to even to 11. It's the same installer. Alrighty, the game we've chosen is Plants vs. Zombies. This game's a classic. Like, literally, it's peak, and let's hope it runs well, because, like, let's hope it runs out better than this, because this is actually a good game, and I wouldn't like to see it get ruined by low frame rate. But it's not looking great. Also, I'm sorry if the quality of the video is getting worse, or, like, sounding more annoyed. I'm just getting more frustrated the more I go through with this, because, like, really, parts of this is pissing me off, because, like, it should have been working easier. I've been doing this for a while. However, okay, so as you can see, it's not running the greatest, but, gaming is gaming, I guess. As long as we kill one zombie, that counts. Come on, we're almost there. If the game crashes before we kill the zombie, that's a fail. But I feel like we're pretty close. Alrighty. There we are. That's all we needed. He's dead. And we're not playing more of that, because it's gonna crash. There are some really nice included games in Vista. One specifically that is from my childhood that I love as a kid is Purple Place. Essentially, it's like you have these weird little character people. Like, let me show you these people here, right? And you do little mini games, like, for example, making a cake, and then, like, moving it through the thing. You also have stuff like this one, where you dress them up. Sounds weird, but no, it's more like matching. So, like, you try to pick something, it tells you what's right, you swap it up, and then it tells you what's right. See? And then this is also a really good one where it's just matching these things. It's cool. There's other stuff to it. Vista actually has this one game that I remember, Ink Ball. They removed it in 7, but this game's also kind of peak. For example, like, I believe you draw the line. Oh, I already fucked up. Oh, you draw lines to try to guide the ball into the hole, and I'm screwing up so bad. Oh my god, I suck at this. Come on. There we are. That's good enough. Obviously, we got our minesweepers and, solitaire, there's chess, and, like, all that sorts of things. That's pretty cool. Let's see if the Minecraft launcher wants to. Guess it doesn't. Okay. Yeah, try to make progress there. However, I believe Supermium will still run. It definitely will, and it's actually much faster here. And then also, I can try to run a DOS game, like Doom. I doubt that it'll run. No, I wasn't expecting this. And I know it ran in XP, but Oh, wait, there's something wrong. It's actually running okay, like, frame rate wise, but that mouse, people do say Vista doesn't run great. Now, I won't deny that. Yeah, this seems to actually be a bit more snappy than XP was. We still got the XP wallpaper, so it's absolutely amazing. It's one of the most beautiful wallpapers that Windows has ever really had, to be honest. And like, yeah, if we move the recycle bin to somewhere more usable and like get a my computer icon, like this could totally be a usable computer even today. Alrighty guys, we are back. This is the next day. As you can see, it's like 9, so don't know how much more I can record for this day. Maybe I'll have to go through tomorrow. Who knows? Whatever. So if I remember correctly, we left off on Windows Vista, which is fine. So yeah, we're gonna update to 7. And this time I'm not gonna be stupid. I'm gonna just record the setup and speedrun it because alright, so we're at the desktop somehow. Let's see if we can bring the resolution up a bit more than what we have it at. Maybe. Yeah, we're able to turn up the resolution. It's probably like pretty small because 720p. I don't have any graphics drivers, however, it does feel quite snappy. Like, that's pretty normal feeling, believe it or not. We can play games like Solitaire. We don't have any graphics drivers yet. Some games are definitely playable. We have one game prepared. Actually, we have 2 games. First, let's see if the Minecraft launcher will work. Nope. First, we got the game copied over and we're gonna just launch it. Right, we were not able to get Portal to run, yet somehow, even the Windows 3.1 game still is able to. It appears that we no longer have Inkball, but we still have the best Windows game of all time, Purple Plate. Yeah, that's that. We're gonna install Windows 8. I'm gonna skip to when that's installed because it's the same process. Now Windows 8 is actually one of the most hated, and I'll show you why. Oh god, I see why they hated it. It's not amazing, because, like, look at this. This is not a desktop option. It's meant to be. It doesn't look like it. Like, look how all the... This looks like a tablet layout. However, there is a desktop, and it's, almost like 7's, to be honest. Except it's missing its start menu, and there is ways to get it, however. And yeah, there's not a whole lot going on. Let's see if we can even get some drivers on it. Oh, it appears that we actually cannot get drivers on it. That's actually strange. I was expecting to have driver support. But can we play Portal 2? Because we couldn't play it in Windows 7. We actually can. We actually can. Okay. I guess that's just a weird Windows 7 thing. Yeah, that's the Valve dude. Sure, let's allow access. This doesn't seem to be running half bad. Like, we don't even have a graphics drive. Let's turn that down. I'd say, like, as low as it goes. Also, I figured out the mouse thingy. It's a weird VMware thingy. However, it isn't running half bad. Yeah, that was Portal 2. That was pretty cool. It actually ran and it had no real issues running either. I mean, I see why people don't like Windows 8, but some of it actually looks pretty futuristic. Like, this thing looks pretty sick. I don't really like how there's no start menu. However, there is, but it looks like this. Now, this actually really reminds me of the Xbox 360. And, like, this is actually really pretty cool, to be honest. Let's see, can we even run the Minecraft launcher? No. Yeah, but this is pretty sick. The game I've chosen is Balatro. It's a relatively new game, so let's see how it gets handled. And now, this is one interesting thing. Somehow, the old 16-bit Windows 3.1 games still work. That's pretty cool. Let me just fail real quick. Yeah. I'm assuming that this doesn't come with any games. Well, it has an Xbox app. Pretty cool. And as I expected, it's down. But this really does look like an Xbox 360. And last but not least, before we upgrade to regular 8, turns out that Doom doesn't work and it just can't full screen and then it crashes. So actually, after all this backlash that Microsoft got for Windows 8, they had a solution. And that solution was Windows 8.1. I'm going to install it right here. And I'm going to show you. Alright, so we actually got it installed. And as you can see, it looks a lot cleaner. So yeah, this is definitely still bad, but it's an improvement. And let's see, can we at least run Portal 2, for example? We still can, obviously. Why would it not run anymore? Maybe this fixes our Balatro issue. No, it's still... I think it's because it's a 64-bit app, to be honest. Probably looks a lot better on your screen. Probably looks a little blurry because of the stretching. But yeah, overall, that's pretty cool. Let's see. Can we still run Doom? It didn't run in 8, so I have low hope for this one. Oh. Hold on. It still doesn't support 16-bit full screen. Obviously, we could still play the Windows 3.1 game. So unfortunately, we were not able to get any games running on it. However, we did get the older games to run on it, and I don't believe there's any new one. I feel we'll have a lot better luck once we switch over to Windows 10. Which is also going to be our final Windows version. Sad that this video has to come to an end, but... Alrighty, so we got Windows 10 installed. Everyone probably knows it. And actually, I'm pretty surprised that we kept all our files. We have the entire desktop set up from 8, 7, and Vista and onwards. And a lot of the apps from then, too. and even like apps like Supermium still from XP. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, we have all the nice Windows 10 features. Let's see if we can get graphics drivers. As far as I'm concerned, we can. I've done it before. You can try to run Geometry Dash from Windows 8, and we have no luck here either. Why isn't that great? Let's see what older apps will run. Does not support. Okay. It turns out we were not actually able to get that to run. Obviously, we can't just leave on a low note, so let's try to run some older games. Let's start with the Windows 3.1 game, because obviously we started with that in all the other versions and it works, so maybe we have luck here. Let's see. I have high hopes for this running, and of course it runs, because why wouldn't? We actually can get the game to try to install. It might actually fully install. Hold on. We actually get the game to launch. That is pretty cool. Let's just create a new game, say easy, and either it quit or something happened, and I'm not quite sure what. Right, so that didn't work. However, there's many other games that we can try. Try playing Windows Vista's game, because that ran pretty bad in Vista. So perchance, I'm sure it'll actually run better here, because it actually can continue the level from where we were at. Yeah, that was this video. I'm sure there's probably more I could have done, and a lot of parts where I probably screwed up, and it was my fault. I think it was a pretty cool video, actually. We got to explore over 40 years of history of technology and Windows versions, starting with DOS. Actually, I think DOS was really cool. And the fact that its apps continue to run like far into like Windows 7. Enjoy your day after this video. Hope you liked the video. DRX out.